Welcome to this explainer. Based on some really fantastic insights from Infoguide NG, we're going to figure out exactly how to perfectly match your solar output to your inverter. Honestly, if you've ever stared at a stack of solar panels and wondered how on earth to connect them without, frying your expensive gear, you are absolutely in the right place. Let's get into it. So let's dive right in by asking the foundational question of literally any off-grid setup. How do you correctly wire a solar panel array? Because trust me, wiring isn't just about plugging things in and hoping for the best. It's not a matter of convenience. It is a critical, calculated, technical decision. The way you connect those wires completely changes the type of electrical power your system generates. To get this right, we need to quickly look at the numbers. You'll notice every single solar panel has a sticker on the back indicating its rated voltage and current. Now think of voltage, or volts, as the electrical pressure, literally pushing the power through the wire. Current, or amps, well, that's the actual volume of that electrical flow. Understanding how to manipulate these two variables by choosing different wiring methods is absolutely essential for a safe, optimized, and efficient system. Here is our quick roadmap for this explainer. 1. The solar wiring dilemma. 2. Series wiring. 3. Parallel wiring. 4. Hybrid wiring. And finally, Part 5. Matching your charge controller. Okay, Part 1. The solar wiring dilemma. Balancing volts and amps. Right off the bat, the crucial point you have to understand is that you must perfectly match your panel array's output to the very specific requirements of your system's hardware. Your charge controller, or your inverter, is the boss. It has strict limits on how much voltage it can handle and how many amps it can process. If you just wire your panels blindly, you could easily underpower your system, or worse, send way too much voltage and completely destroy your inverter. So everything we do with wiring is about hitting the exact target your hardware demands. Moving on to Part 2. Series wiring, the low-cost extreme. So, in a series setup, you simply daisy-chain the panels together. You take the positive wire from panel A and click it directly into the negative wire of panel B, and so on, right down the line. This makes the physical setup incredibly easy and requires almost no extra components. You literally just click them together into one long chain. Now, when you wire things this way, the math changes dramatically. Let's say you have 6 panels, and each one is rated at 25 volts and 10 amps. In a series, the voltage adds up, but the amperage stays exactly the same as a single panel. So 25 volts times 6 panels gives you a massive 150 volts. But your current, it stays right at a highly manageable 10 amps. And because those amps are so low, you can use thinner, much cheaper wires. That's a huge win for your budget. But, and this is a massive drawback, there's a fatal flaw here. If just one single panel gets shaded by a tree branch or malfunctions, it drags down the performance of the entire string. It operates just like a string of cheap holiday lights. If one bulb goes out or gets blocked, the electrical flow for the whole chain is severely choked. That lack of resilience makes pure series wiring pretty risky if your roof gets any shade at all. Let's look at the other end of the spectrum with Part 3, parallel wiring, independent power. Instead of a daisy chain, parallel wiring involves combining all the positive leads from every panel together into one main line, and all the negative leads together into another. By keeping the circuits separate like this, each panel can stand somewhat individually in the overall array. And here is the electrical flip side for 6 panels. Remember our 25-volt, 10-amp rating? Well, in parallel, the math reverses completely. The voltage stays stuck at 25 volts no matter how many panels you add, but the amperage multiplies massively, shooting all the way up to 60 amps. That is a huge amount of electrical flow. So the trade-offs here are incredibly clear. Series is cheap and uses thin wires, but it completely fails in the shade. Parallel, on the other hand, survives the shade beautifully. If a cloud covers one panel, the other 5 just keep pumping out full power. However, that massive 60-amp current demands expensive, ultra-thick wires to safely carry the load without overheating. Plus, parallel systems are way more complex, requiring branch connectors and complex inline fuses to prevent dangerous backpowering, which is when electricity flows backward into a faulty panel. Which brings us to Part 4, hybrid wiring, the sweet spot. To really understand why hybrid is the standard, imagine you buy a specific charge controller. The manual states its operating window. It needs at least 60 volts just to wake up and work. But if you send it more than 115 volts, you'll literally fry the internal circuits. Now, look back at our previous math. Our pure series setup gave us 150 volts, way too high, it'll break the machine. Our pure parallel setup gave us 25 volts, that's too low, the inverter won't even turn on. So neither pure setup actually works here. So how do we conquer the math? With a hybrid setup. You take your 6 panels and you divide them up. Step 1. You create 2 separate strings of 3 panels. wiring them in series. 3 panels at 25 volts gives each string 75 volts. Step 2, you take those two 75-volt strings and wire them together in parallel. Because they're paralleled, the voltage stays right at 75 volts, which fits absolutely perfectly into our inverter's 60 to 115-volt window. Meanwhile, the amperage safely doubles to a very manageable 20 amps. This hybrid method is the real-world standard for a very good reason. It really hits the trifecta. First, you get shade resilience. If one of your 3-panel strings gets shaded by a chimney, the other string keeps pumping out power independently. Second, you stay safely within the voltage limits of your equipment. And third, by keeping the amps relatively low at 20 amps instead of 60, you save serious money on wiring thickness, and you can opt for a much more affordable charge controller. It's basically the ultimate balancing act. Finally, Part 5. Matching your charge controller, the ultimate array goal. To summarize everything we've talked about, consider this your ultimate cheat sheet. Series builds voltage, but absolutely fears the shade. Parallel builds amperage and beats the shade, but requires some heavy-duty, expensive gear. Hybrid gives you the exact mathematical customization you need to ensure your output safely and efficiently matches your inverter's specific input ratings. Essentially, you mold the array's output to fit the machine, not the other way around. So, I'll leave you with this final thought as you evaluate your off-grid plans or even as you look at the panels currently sitting on your roof. Remember that wiring isn't just about plugging things in. It is a powerful tool to manipulate power. Is your current configuration truly optimized for your specific gear, or is your wiring strategy leaving valuable, clean energy right on the table?